Well, on this day 3 years ago, November 25th, 2021, a murder on Thanksgiving Day in Farmersville, Illinois had friends, family, and police confused. A woman was found dead and a man was barely conscious on the kitchen floor, fighting for his life, bleeding for more than 12 hours. Authorities learned the couple was on their first date. The man was rushed to the hospital after police responded to the home on a welfare check. But was he able to help police piece together what happened? I sat down with Erin Moriarty, who has the story. No one expects a first date to end in murder, but that's exactly what happened right here in Illinois on Thanksgiving Day in 2021, when a fitness instructor, Leslie Reeves, was killed and her date, Chris Smith, was shot and gravely wounded. Joining us now live from New York City is CBS correspondent Erin Moriarty, who is exploring this fatal first date on CBS's 48 Hours. Good morning. Thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, it's great being here, Taylor. Thank you. And thanks for talking about this. This was a very unusual case for 48 Hours because there's actually a survivor, and how unusual that is.
Absolutely. So can you start off by telling us how soon investigators had a suspect?
Well, this was actually an amazing investigation because investigators had to find a suspect right away. As we know, there was a survivor. There was no weapon found at the scene, and I know investigators were concerned that you had an armed killer out there who might come back and finish the job. And two of Leslie Reeves' friends said that she had had a former boyfriend who had been stalking her and, in fact, had shown up on another first date. And so they had given his name to investigators. It was Robert Tarr, known as Bobby. So they brought him in right away. And when he didn't tell the truth, or they didn't feel he had told the truth, they arrested him almost immediately. Within 24 hours, they had a suspect and a defendant.
So was there any evidence in the house that tied Tarr to the murder and attempted murder?
Well, that's what complicated the prosecution, no question about that. And Robert Tarr makes a big deal about that because we do spend some time talking to him. He points out that investigators were not able to find his DNA. They weren't able to find fingerprints. There was no blood in his car. There was no glass in his car. But fortunately for investigators, Bobby Tarr likes to talk and went in without a lawyer and contradicted himself, lied about his activities, and at trial ended up really the most damaging evidence came from Tarr himself.
And like you said earlier, it's very incredible that one of these victims survived. So how is Chris Smith doing? Was he able to identify the shooter?
Taylor, that was, I think, one of the big disappointments for, I think, the prosecution and investigators. Chris Smith made a remarkable recovery. He was in a medically induced coma for weeks. But when he came out, and it was so astounding, he remembers nothing, which is so astounding to me. He doesn't even remember meeting Leslie Reeves, the woman he had had the first date with. And they had been texting and emailing each other. And by all accounts, people who had seen them together said they had had a great time. But that seems to have been erased from his memory. But apart from that, so he couldn't testify at trial, he has made the most remarkable recovery. He is an inspiring man with his resilience and his determination to get his life back.
That's incredible to hear. And before we wrap up here, was that murder weapon ever found?
It was. That was another interesting detail of this case. It was found in Bobby Tarr's yard, but it was found in a place that the police had searched twice before. So that raised an interesting question at trial as well.
Erin, thank you so much for speaking with us this morning. We appreciate you. You can watch 48 Hours every Saturday night at 9 p.m. on CBS, or you can also stream 48 Hours on Paramount Plus or Pluto TV. You can watch this episode on CBS's news website. Erin, again, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks so much, Taylor.